Okay, I have bought I say 4 big pork loin roast yesterday morning, and that got enough to fill 14 quart jars, which would go into 2 separate canner at one time, and then it actually gave me enough for 2 dinners and 2 breakfasts of like boneless pork chop. But now we're going to get these ready to go in the canner, and then this is hot wet towels to clean up the rims, and then we're going to take a clean napkin, and this is white vinegar, and we want to make sure that the vinegar to clean the rims to make sure that there's no grease. So now get the jars ready, and let's take the lid. And this part is not necessary, but just personal idea that I like to kind of get it dry before I put it on my jar. Just finger tight. So that's ready. And now when I'm finished with all the rest of the jar, then we'll go put it into the canner, and you'll see that. Okay, I already got this canner filled with 7 quarts, and now I just need to finish filling this one. The last 2 goes in, and I have 3 quarts of water in there. And in the canning book they suggest that you put vinegar in the water. And after a few times I realized what the vinegar really does is actually corroding my rings. The rings get really corroded after couple use. So I decided to try it out by not using the vinegar, and that alleviate that problem. And it does not cause any other problem at all, But maybe because we don't have high mineral content in our water or something, but it works for me. My canning jar ring is stay good. So anyway, here we go. Line up the arrow on the top. I don't know if you can see it from here. There's an arrow right there. And then there's an arrow right here. And you line that arrow up. And then you twist it to close your lid. And here's my gauge. Oops. Oh, right here. And then again, line up the arrow. And then now this is the valve. Oh, let me show you this. If you see that is the valve that when the pressure builds up, it'll pop up. So we'll watch for that when it starts to boil. And then I'm going to turn it on now and get it going. And when the steam start coming out, then we'll come back. Show you what I'm doing. You see that? Right, you can see the steam with this pot in the background, right? So the steam is coming up, and then you watch this valve. When it pops up, then you're supposed to count, like you're supposed to time 10 minutes before you put the weight on, because that to expel all the air in there. And then after that, you build the pressure up. And once pressure is up to right here, for our altitude, it needs to be at 11 And then that's when we could start counting time for the canning time, which is 90 minutes for quart jars and 75 minutes for pint jars. So we'll come back again when that comes up. Okay, this burner is a lot stronger, burns a lot hotter, so it actually pop up real quick, you know, and so we were able to put the weight on, and it's already built up to almost 5 pounds. And this one, because the burner is a lot smaller, it's still not pop up or anything, so I'm waiting for this one to get to that point.
Now what were you doing? You were saying sometimes the little thing might stick?
Yeah, so it does, because my burner is doesn't burn hot enough.
So what were you doing to...
Well, sometimes I had to use this to tap this this valve, and it'll pop up. Not always work, you know. It's just whenever you're ready to pop up. But because the burner just not as strong.
Okay, so now you got the weight on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is it going to come up?
I don't know. Sometimes I know that it's enough. It's already been spewing out the steam for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do is I go ahead and put it on
Uh-huh.
to facilitate it.
Ah, there you go. Okay. All right, so now...
Now I'm waiting for it to come up the pressure to 11 pounds, and then I'll start timing the 90 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, so now the canner has come to the pressure, and we're going to start timing it for 90 minutes. So that will be 10, 11 o'clock basically, 11:03 for this canner. And this one is still working on its pressure, so we count the time for this one separately later. Okay, so even though I lowered the temperature down a little bit from 7 to 5, and it's still going too fast, and the pressure keep building up, so I'm going to lower it down to about between 3 and 4. You don't want to lower your temperature, your burner too fast, because sometimes you'll actually lose pressure, and you don't want to do that. So check it every so many minutes. Okay, now after lowering the temperature down to 3, and the pressure is still persistent, so I'm gonna have to lower just a little bit more. You're gonna have to keep adjusting your temperature so that you don't overpressure, but you don't want to bring it down too fast. So you just have to keep checking until it reaches its sweet spot. But your 90 minutes continue to count anyway, even when it's overpressure. We'll check again later. Alright, this one is trying to keep its temperature above 11 pounds, but it's a little bit above. So as long as this rattler don't rattle, then that's okay. So I'm leaving it alone. And this one finally reached the pressure. And we're going to start timing this. And this one will be at 11:16 for the 90 minutes. So here's my husband will call Maypad. And so that will be 11:16 when the time is up. So there we are. And then we would go ahead and start adjusting this one down a little bit, and then come back in a few minutes to readjust to make sure that it's okay and it's still maintaining the pressure. See you later when it's done. Okay, you see the pressure is all the way up to 15, and this is rattling. So that means we need to adjust the temperature down a little bit further. And this one had maintained at between 13 and 14 pounds, but it's not rattling, so I'm leaving it alone. So you see I adjusted the temperature a little bit and it stopped rattling here. So countdown, continue. Alright, it's almost time for the canner on the left. And I'm already having the temperature drop down to between 1 and 2. See if you could see it. And this is how low the flame is. And this is how low on the smaller burner. But the pressure still remains high. But since the weight is not rattling, so I left it alone. And this one only got another 8 minutes to go, I think. Oh wait, I think it's time already. Ooh, I actually went over 5 minutes. So I could, oh actually 4 minutes, so I could go ahead and turn it off now and let the pressure come down by itself. And the right one, I still have 8 minutes. And we shall see. Alright, time's up for this one too. We could turn it off right now. And this one, the pressure is start to releasing, and it's down to 10 pounds now. And when both get down to 0, then we'll open the lid up and then go from there. Later. Alright, the both pressure went down to 0, and the pop-up pressure gauge is down, so we could remove them, move the weight safely. And now open it up and let the steam out away from you, and I let it sit for like that for about 10 minutes before we take the jar out. Alright, and we'll be back in 10 minutes. Ooh, just heard a pop. Alright, so now that we uncover it, and then we could retrieve, we could take all these jars out. And I like to dry the bottom a little bit.
They're already popping.
Yeah. And a lot of people use a clean towel underneath, and I realized that these jars can be kind of greasy, so I don't really like my towels get greasy, so I just use the old newspaper, or you know, whatever that paper that you're going to be able to just throw it out when you're done, so they soak up the grease or whatever, and it also protects your countertop. All right, that's all 14 jars. And then you're going to start hearing poppings. And that's...
We already started hearing.
Mm-hmm. So then that tells you that it's sealed. And we'll let it finish cooling down and sealed up. And tomorrow we have to check for the...
Make sure they sealed.
Yes. And then let it cool off for 20... Let it set for 24 hours. Then we'll remove the ring and then clean it up. And make sure you clean it up, wash it up. I usually wash it with soap and water. The first time that I didn't do that. I just kind of wipe it down, and those jars wind up having mildew on the outside.
Wow.
Luckily, it can be washed, but I don't want
affect the food inside?
No. It's just the outside. I guess you get the juice or debris or whatever, and if you didn't wash it up, that can be mildewing. And then you could see inside the canner, you could see the greasy.
Hopefully you can see that. Oh, you can hear it popping. Oh,
So-
steaming up the lens too.
Okay, so that's it for the night. Good night.
Hey guys, so here is how many hours now?
8 hours.
8 hours. 8 hours after we did the canning of the pork loin, and this is how it looks. To me, it looks delicious and it tastes awesome. And I think you guys definitely need to try this yourself. You never know. Just in case you got a lot of meat and your freezer goes down, it's definitely a lot easier to hold your meat in this fashion than it is in the freezer.
Oh, and they're good. They're good for if you just eat straight out of the can. You could turn it into taco meat, and you could shred it up and making how you call it a barbecue
Like pulled pork.
pork sandwich.
Yeah.
You could put it on the rice. You could put it on the noodles, and you could even put in the Alfredo sauce. Actually, tastes good that way too.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's pretty versatile, and it's all ready to eat. And or you could just put in some soup.
Right.
Oh, and it's good on pizza.
Oh yeah. We try to stay away from carbs, but we like pizza every so often, and the local store we go to makes a pretty good pizza. This it's like a monthly special type of pizza. This month was what was it? Philly beef.
Yeah,
Philly beef and cheese type of pizza, and so we brought it home and made that decked it out a little bit more with some extra cheese and some of the the Kahlua pork that we had made.
And sometimes we use whatever we have on hand.
And then some of the like onions and peppers and whatever that we grow in the garden. So it actually came out really good. And what else you got to do?
I want to let it seal better. Maybe this afternoon I would take the ring off. And then just wash the jar with soap, with the dishwashing soap. Like if I was doing dishes, and then rinse it off and then let it dry off.
Right.
Then I could put it away.
Okay.
Then I'll put the dates on it.
Okay, so we don't need to come back and
No.
Okay, I think we're good. So hopefully you take this encouragement. Yeah, that's a good word.
Yeah, because I was scared. I was so scared. But the thought of losing the meat that I have in the freezer and don't know what to do with it, it's even more, scary to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, growing up without food.
Right.
And not knowing where my next meal is going to come from, I'm always have food insecurity.
Right.
And this is my food security.
All right, guys. If you try it, let us know how it works, and we'll talk to you later.